Good morning, heartache. You old gloomy sad. Good morning, heartache. You're the one who knew me well. Might as well get used to you hanging around. Good morning, heartache. What's new? Wish I can forget you, but you're here to stay. It seems I left you when my love went away. Now every day I start by saying to you, good morning, heartache, what's new? Stop haunting me now. Can't chase you no how. Just leave me alone. I've got those Monday blues, straight through Sunday blues. Good morning, heartache. Here we go again. Good morning, heartache. Thought we said goodbye last night. Might as well get used to you hanging around. Good morning, heartache. Sit down. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thought I'd switch it up. That was Billie Holiday, Good Morning, Heartache. I know I mixed up some words. That is my favorite Billie Holiday song. And I want to say first that I know it's been a while since I've done some episodes. I've been going through some things. And I promised my listeners one thing, and I want to apologize to them. I know it sounds very minute, but I'm a woman of my word. I said we're going to go through this thing called life together. And I really thought at one point I was going to step away from podcasting. My numbers wasn't going up and worried about the wrong shit. But something dropped in my spirit today to do a new series. And it wouldn't leave me alone. So the name of this series is called The Recovery Room. And I'm doing something different because I have notes now. I usually improv, but this is I've worked on the first series. The first series is today. I'll let you know about the second series. So, The Recovery Room, Part 1. This is it. And I'm going to read something I picked up off of Pinterest. I need to talk, but I don't know what to say. I need to cry, but I don't know how to let the tears flow. I want to live, but I don't have the courage to face another day. So, Tiff, why are you naming this The Recovery Room? Anybody that ever had a major surgery or went through something where you had to have your teeth pulled, or for me, have a C-section, they put you under heavy anesthesia and you go through the surgery. Sometimes you do feel it, sometimes you don't. Oh, my thing is about to drop. And you go into a recovery room. Your family and friends, they're waiting outside. In some surgical centers, they'll have something where it shows the patient's name and it says surgery in status, coming out of surgery, and then surgery done. And that's when the doctor or the nurse's assistant comes out and says, all right, this person is recovering right now. We don't need a lot of people in. Who wants to go in there? Or with some hospitals, they'll say, they're like, who you want? They'll ask the patient who you want to come in to see how you're holding up. And when I thought about the recovery room, I thought about the trauma that I have been going through. I have dealt with a divorce, a miscarriage, the agony of finding a job in my career field, currently working at a job that I don't get paid as much. I'm barely keeping afloat. And dealing with the day-to-day of social media. So let's do the breakdown. Applying for jobs. As many of you have listened to my podcast, I have a background in public relations. Got my undergrad degree at University of Memphis, as the Memphians call it, Memphis State. And I got my master's in the midst of the pandemic, like when we was quarantined, and graduate top of my class. With those credentials, according to what we were brought up when we were younger, get a job, go to school, go to college, then you get a job, you get a career, then you're going to be making 7 figures. And to be honest, that's why most students are not going to college, because college is a joke. Unless you're in certain fields. That's what they don't like to teach us. They didn't teach us back then. Now, if you're in medical or anything where it has to do with a trade, you might can land you a decent job, but anything outside of that, it's a hell to the no, or you have to move away from your hometown to have a livable wage. And this is what happened. So right now I am currently working. I will not tell you where I'm working at, but on average, I bring home my take home pay about $450 a week. $450 a week. And after paying bills and getting gas, I probably have $100 to my name each week. And I work 40 hours a week, doing everything up under the sun just to survive, while looking at 2 degrees that says I should be making well over $60K a year. You know how depressing that is? I didn't go into public relations for shits and giggles. I went into public relations because I had a passion for it. And to be constantly denied and denied and denied, I was up for 2 jobs, and I'm finna break it down so ever consistently be broke. Went through the interviewing process, went through the first phase, and this what's been going on ever since, I would say, about 4 or 5 years. Went through the first phase, go through the second phase, and I could walk away from the interview and I'm thinking, I said, okay, I may have gotten this job. It seems like they like me. They really like me. Either one or two things happen, and this is where I'm gonna step on some toes. And if I got an amen corner, please say amen. Either I get a denial letter or I don't hear from them at all. As HR professionals, if you are an HR professional that's listening to me, that is tacky. If you don't want to hire the person, have the common courtesy to reach back out to them. Even if you already have a candidate in mind, have a person to reach back out to that person and tell them that, hey, we decided to go forth with another candidate in a timely manner. Ghosting them, that's so unprofessional. And I've gotten it. So this past month, I've been told, going to church, volunteering for a ministry, praying. And when I say I've been praying, I have an altar at my home, laying on my face, praying hard. And it was dropped in my spirit, you're going to get an offer letter. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. And I thought in these 2 jobs that I applied for, that I would get it. Lo and behold, got denied. And the thing that I loathe the most living in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's all about politics. Anybody that tells you that have lived in Memphis more than 20 plus years, it's all about politics. It's not about talent. It's not about experience. It's all about who you know. And that's sad. That's why Memphis will always be behind the 8 ball. They will always be behind the 8 ball because you rather hire somebody that you know that has no experience in the field than somebody that does have experience in the field, has the criteria, has everything, but you're so afraid either you have to pay them more or you're afraid that they're going to take your job. That is so true. Ask anybody from Memphis. That's why a lot of people that are from Memphis go out of state, because that's where the money is. Memphis is so quick to embrace outsiders than the people in their community. I give you a prime example, then I'm gonna go back to my argument. What I'm going through. We had this social media sensation named Mr. Chow Time, whatever the hell his name is, and Darius Cooks. They came down here, trashed the food, and Memphians was all upset. And we got actual food bloggers here that they don't show any love. I'm sorry, that's another story for another time. So when I got this job denial, I snapped. I tore off all my degrees on my wall and broke them and said these degrees don't mean shit. As I stand, I'm $144,434.32 in student debt. Thank you, Republicans in Supreme Court. That's damn near a house or expensive car that I don't have the money to pay for because I cannot find the funding. And what really discouraged me was I was seeing everybody around me getting jobs, being blessed. And I'm thinking to myself, God, why are you doing this to me? And I had a mental breakdown. I woke up every day wishing that I wouldn't wake up again. I didn't care anymore. Wishing not to wake up again. I was dealing with trauma. Then I had to uncover, and I didn't acknowledge, that I had a miscarriage. Back in 2014, I had a miscarriage. The reason why I act like it didn't happen, because of course I went through all the symptoms, and I took a pregnancy test. Me and my ex-husband popped up pregnant. I was happy. I was like, oh my God, I knew I was going to have a little boy. I knew it, 2 days ago, 2 days after that, I went to the bathroom and I had immense bleeding. And I was thinking, oh my God, what's going on? I went to the gynecologist, scanned everything. Gynecologist came back. No, baby, you were not pregnant. Baby's gone. I take that back. That's what he said. The baby's gone. And I tucked that in the back of my mind. Until last year, when I get and this is the real shit and I'm putting it out there. My daughter, first day of school, she gets a text from somebody saying, this is your brother's mother or something like that. And she asked, did I know this person? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't recognize the phone number. And I text this person back. This person got real smart with me. And I'm thinking, I'm a mama bear. I'm like, you ain't finna talk crazy to me when it's concerning my child. Don't get it twisted. So I ended up calling my ex-husband. Like, who is this person? And I said, Amari's mother's brother. What the fuck is going on? He tells me, well, since the cat is out of the bag, I had a son. I said, I knew that. I knew that about 2 years ago before we divorced. It came to me in my dream. And we're arguing back and forth, me and his baby mama. And she just talking out the side of her neck, being very immature. Very immature. Super immature. And my ex-husband said something so damaging. He said, at least she could give me a son. That cut like a fucking knife. You're gonna tell somebody at least she could do that? And it fucked with me because I was like, I really wanted a son. And maybe because of the shit that I done in my past and how I was fucking up, maybe that's why I wasn't good enough to carry a baby. But I realized that in the end, if I had my son, my divorce probably would have took longer and would have been a hell of a lot worse. Because shortly after that, I got pregnant after my mom passed away. I had a miscarriage, and then months later I was diagnosed. A year later I was diagnosed epileptic. Because what happened, it was my special case was most people that are epileptic, they are born with it. My case was I became epileptic because my brain, the way the doctor explained it, he said, think about a fat woman sitting on a tightrope and she's swinging back and forth. She's swinging back and forth, and one day that tightrope snapped. He said your mind handled you expressed something happened where you had trauma and your brain couldn't take it no more. And I'm still standing before you today. I am an epilepsy warrior. I'm going to beat this hell for about 40, and there's not a damn thing she can do about it. But for to have the person, my ex-husband, who I have known ever since I was 15, dated ever since I was 17 years old, to say something like that, that broke me. It broke me. It made me feel less than. I'm getting cut after cut after cut after cut, and I'm not dealing with it. And it's making me a difficult person to deal with. And I'll go into how difficult it made me in the second part. But I'm saying this to say that if you do not address your trauma, it could have it could cause long-term health issues. I'm a living witness of it. I never was epileptic in my life. I have to take up to almost 2,500 milligrams a day to keep my brain from going apeshit. That's trauma. That's when you, as I said before, going up under the knife, getting surgery, and addressing those things. I couldn't address them. I didn't want to address them. It was too hard for me to address them. And then finally, no, this is my second point, the social media dilemma. My amen corner, come on in the room. It's your time. The social media dilemma. You can get so, if you in dealing with trauma, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, you can get so depressed looking at, I got a new job. Oh, look at me. I just opened up my new boutique. Oh, look at me and my husband. We doing good. Oh, look, I'm going out. I'm partying. I'm doing this. And you sitting at home scrolling, wishing for death. That was me. I'm seeing the social media dilemma. And I know some people like, ain't all that shit real. But when you in that depressive state, the shit seem real. I'm scrolling through and I'm feeling myself shrink. What the fuck have I been doing for the last 30 plus years? And this year is coming up on my 20th high school reunion. And be honest, I'm uneasy about going because most high school reunions, and I'm gonna keep it all the way a thou wow, as the kids say. I didn't like everybody in my class. Being at Whitehaven High School was like the black Clueless. If you remember Clueless, the movie, how everybody was super preppy and, that's how it was. So me being a homegirl from Lakeview Gardens, where my family didn't make that much money, I was so out of place. Except for JROTC. Shout out to Whitehaven JROTC. I'm uneasy about going to my class reunion. Very uneasy. Because I don't want to be judged. I damn sure don't want to deal with anybody that I used to date. And I damn sure don't want anybody in my business. Because I didn't really... Oh, and I really don't want to deal with the fakeness. I'm the type of person, if we didn't get along back then, if you rarely talked to me back then, please don't act like we're best friends now. I can't keep that same energy that you kept 20 years ago. I ain't gonna be a hater and not speak to you. Of course I'm gonna speak to you, but I'm not finna pretend, especially if you did me dirty. That's why I'm gonna limit my access to you. Like, hey, how you doing? Keep that energy over there. But with the social media dilemma, what I had to do, I deleted all my apps. I don't want to see anything. I tuned myself out from the world. Let me tell you what happened when I did delete my social media apps. I was able to get shit done. I started journaling. I started, ordering books, listening to books on Audible and learning a new skill set and going to therapy. Because, social media can be a depressing thing. And me being in public relations and applying for these different jobs, I have what is called the social media dilemma, because 90% of PR is being on social media. And imagine being depressed, I'll give you my story, having 64 cents in my bank account, 2 notches above E in my gas tank, looking at everybody else living their best life. And I felt like a complete fucking failure. I even felt like a failure a couple days ago. And I'm thinking to myself, and it's people that I have supported, that I've loved on, that I have, had they back. And not one of them even called to or texted and said, how are you doing? But this is what I realized. What I said before about being in recovery, being in the recovery room. Not everybody is able to have access to you when you're coming out of recovery. When you're going through surgery, it's only you and the doctor and some nurses. And the doctor is specialized and he's skilled. And he takes out everything, he or she takes out everything that is wrong and sew you right back up. When you're going through trauma, not everybody can be around you. Only specialized people can be around you. Hear me in the spirit. When I say specialized people, I mean folks that's been through it, that's going to encourage you, that's going to speak life into you, that can get a prayer through. Specialized people, because they know that type of pain. They know how to deal with it. Because if you got everybody around you and you expect certain things, those people may not be qualified to handle that type of trauma. That's like giving an intern to say, hey, go do open heart surgery. They're an intern. I can't do that. And what I realized, what was dropped upon me in the spirit was, when you come out of recovery, meaning when you're going through the process of coming out of your trauma and recognizing the triggers and how to deal with it, not everybody is specialized to be around you during aftercare. And I realized that this is why those people didn't contact me. They can't handle me right now. And I gotta be cool with it. And you have to be cool with when you're going through phases in your life, certain people are not going to be able to handle you. They can't. That's why God, the spirit, the ancestors, whoever you believe in, put a shield of protection around you. Excuse me. So those people cannot get in, because if you let someone get in too early while you're in the midst of progress, either they're going to set you back or it's going to trigger something. It may be something that they said, or, or something that they did, or, hey, I spoke to this person, and that sets you back light years. So don't be upset when certain people are not there when you're going through something. Look at it like this: they're not qualified to handle you during those stages. That's what I had to learn. I had to learn that. So the last point in the this is it is I had to realize my mistakes. And I had to go way back in the day where it started. And baby, that's part 2. So realizing your mistakes. I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm perfect, that I did everything right, that I, treated everyone right, that I didn't violate someone's space, that I didn't get on people's nerves, that when my name popped up, they like, oh my gosh, she gonna talk about her problem and not worry about me. Oh, she always wanting something. I had to realize that myself and address them accordingly. That, yeah, I made some mistakes. I didn't walk around this bitch perfect. I was a horrible friend to some people. I was talking behind people's back. I wrote people off. And they have every right to block me out of their life or not talk to me. Because at that time, what I realized is I was in a messed up space. And when you're going through trauma, you hurt the people that's closest to you without even realizing it. Without even realizing that you're hurting those people that have your back. And what I realize is, I ask myself, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Because when the problem that I had was, I kept reflecting on all my past mistakes, and I thought I never could change. And being in an ex-marriage for 15 years, a person reminding you, even though you're going to therapy, even though you admit yourself into the mental hospital and trying to do things better, reminding you that you'll never, ever, ever, ever be the same. You're going to always be the same. You're always going to be that same person. You're never going to change. And when you got someone feeding that into your head every day, you're starting to believe that. At one point in time, I believed that this was it, And I said to myself, if I can't control my life, I'll take control of my life. In other words, if I can't control my life, I can end this shit. That's the only thing I have control of. So if you get anything from part 1 of the recovery room, always remember, when you're going through trauma, Not everybody's qualified to be around you. Get some people in your circle that specialize in it. I'm still going through therapy. And some friends that's been through it that say, hey, I see what you're doing. I see, you're going to get through this. Some folks that's going to encourage you, some prayer warriors, some folks that, that's been through what you've been through and saying, hey, get up. No, we ain't doing this. Don't be sad during the time that you're going through, that the folks that you were cool with, kicked it with, supported them through their trauma, is not there for you. Maybe, not maybe, it's because they are not able to handle you while you're in recovery. Like I said before, when you're in the recovery room, not a lot of people is in there. Because you're vulnerable. You're weak. You can't speak. You can't do anything. You can't respond. Sometimes. You're in a whole nother state. Not everybody can be around you. So look at it as a form of protection around you. Because maybe if that person may come back into your life and it triggers something and it sets you back or get you sick again. I experienced that. And also, more than anything, when you are in recovery, go back to the source. It's hard to do that. Go back to the source of your pain. If you don't know what the source of your pain is, start thinking back. When did it start? Did it start when I was a child? Did it start when I was dating or in high school or whatever? Go back to the source. It's going to hurt. Trust me, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But it's necessary. Because if you do not treat a wound and you just keep, perfect example, right here. You keep picking at it. You keep picking at it. You keep picking at it. You don't address it. It turns into a scar. And it is a very fucking ugly scar that everyone sees anytime they see you. I have to cover this with makeup because I kept picking at it, even though it was her. I didn't address it. I didn't put ornament on it. I didn't do anything. And guess what? It's a scar. It's a line. So anybody sees me without any makeup, they're going to see this scar. So don't pick at trauma. Address it. It's not going to be overnight success. It's not going to be, it's not going to be, oh my gosh, I'm healed. If it's years and decades of trauma, take your time. You may have to shut off from the world. You may have to get counseling. And that's cool. And if you got some folks that's ride or die with you, you can easily say, like one of my friends, I tell him, hey, I'm actually going through something right now. You probably ain't going to hear from me. I need time to clear my head. And my friend was like, all right, that's cool. Long as you straight. So I'm going to close this with a prayer that I wrote. And hopefully it will help you. Because during my time, because we run a little bit long, I'm glad it's under about 40 minutes and I'm not going to keep you long. When I was going through my trauma, I'm very spirit-led. I hear downloads. I see things before it happens. I dream dreams. I know it's some of y'all out there that does that. You are not crazy. You're gifted. And one night I was really, really depressed. And I started writing a prayer. So I'm going to end this with a prayer. and hopefully it helps you. I'll be right back after these messages. I'm kidding. I'll be right back. Hey, we finna close out this podcast. As I stated before I left, when I went through my darkest time, being spirit led, I started writing a prayer. I started writing several prayers. Never wrote prayers before. So I wrote this prayer on May 1st, 2023 at 9:36 a.m. in the midst of my breakdown. And for those who do pray, if you're Baptist, you don't do that. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Now lay me down. No. How I take prayer is me talking like I'm talking to you. So here's my prayer. It was called Bedtime Prayer. I come to you tonight as a lost soul. My mind has become the enemy. I thought I knew who I was and what is my purpose. But today, I'm so unsure. I used to be so confident with a loud voice, and now I'm silent. Failures and disappointment has broken me down. I'm so afraid my life will always be the same. I'm asking you for the first time in a long time to please help me. Help me, please. I am nothing. I have no vision. I cannot walk this road alone without you. I have fought some battles in my past off of grandmama and the saints' prayers. I'm calling on you to save me from myself. I need divine strength, faith, and power. Please, God, I don't want to end up like my mom. I overcame so much. You have brought me through so much. Restore me, rebuild me, guide me, lead me, protect me. Bless me with the desires of my heart. Help me. It is me, Tiffany, crying out to you. I cannot move without you because you are all I have now. This is my plea and my prayer. Amen. So I hope that does help you. The next part I will record next week. It's called The Recovery Room Part 2, The Tiffany Complex. We're going to unpack my trauma. And it's going to get real. But I hope and pray that this episode helps you. If I can help one person, because I said it before when I first started my podcast, we're going through this together. Whoever is listening to me, you're not alone. I know it sounds cliche when you hear people say you're not alone. Hear me. You are not alone. We're going through this together. You are not alone. Wherever you are listening from, you are not alone. I'm here with you. We're going to get through this process together. And as I close with my motto and the purpose behind my podcast. You have the right to tell your story. Don't give anyone the right to tell it for you. I love you. Be safe.